Welcome students to Solving Quadratic Functions Assignment Extra Examples. So the front of this page is solve each equation by graphing or finding roots, and I'm allowing you to choose 10 of the problems. And the back is quadratic formula, and I'm letting you choose just 6 because I'm nice that way. So this one, you can choose either method on these. Honestly, it's up to you. I'm just gonna do one by graphing because I think that's probably the one that you might need the most help with because we have done the roots one before. So when you're graphing in the calculator, first of all, make sure you use an x, not another variable, because you'll confuse the calculator. Okay, so remember, you're gonna go to a graph page, and then each side is gonna get its own line. So 6x squared, and then tab 70 minus x. Now, notice how I don't see 70 minus x on here anywhere. All I see is the 6x squared part. That means you need to zoom. So go to Menu, Window Zoom, and try Zoom Fit. That usually works okay. Zoom Fit. And then wait a minute. All right, so there's Zoom Fit. Now you can see the intersection points. Now it's zoomed probably way further out than it needs to be, but that's okay. So I need to know where these intersection points are, right there. And I care about the x values because that's what I'm searching for. I'm solving for x. So remember to do menu, analyze graph, which is 6, and intersection, which is 4. So let's put that up there. Menu 6, 4 is for graphing right there. Okay, so remember when it says lower bound, go to the left somewhere. Just make sure you're to the left of the intersection points and click. And once it changes to upper bound, then you can carefully slide across. Okay, so the first intersection point, that x value, if you can see it, is negative 3.5. So one of my solutions is x equals negative 3.5. And my second one, keep sliding. Okay, so you may have to move your mouse around a little bit, but there, if you can see it, it's 3.33. It's probably 3 1/3. But you can round it, that's fine. So there's your solutions right there. All right, so let's go to the back. Now I want to do one of the multiple choice ones with you. And in fact, I'm going to pick 13. And there's a reason for that. So for the back, you're going to be using quadratic formula on all of them. So that means you need to identify your a, b, and c. So remember you have ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. Okay, so my a here is 8. Use my colors again. A equals 8. Now notice there is no b, like there's no x term. So b is going to be 0. So everywhere that you see b in the quadratic formula, you're going to put 0. And then c is negative 11. Okay, so let's do x equals. And you have the formula on your notes, but you know what? Let me go ahead and write it here. Negative b. Okay, so that's on your notes. That's an a. That's on your notes, but here it is again. All right, so let's start plugging in values. So everywhere I see a b, I'm going to put a 0. So really, I don't even have to put negative 0 because it's 0. And then 0 squared, hello, I don't really need to put that. And then 4 times a, so 8, times c is negative 11, all over 2a. Oops. Oh, but I actually put the a value, times 16. It's 8, which is 16. Okay, So now let's work on simplifying this a little bit. So I do not need the zeros there. So plus minus square root, let's see what that comes out to. Okay, so this part in the square root comes out to negative or positive 352, and that's over 16. Now, none of these seem to be the same thing. So there's a couple ways you can do this. You can simplify this a little more, like you could do square root of 352 and see what you get. Okay, so if you wanted to simplify it, you would have to know the factors of 352. You would have to know that 352 is 16 times 22. So this is something to do kind of a sidebar. Sidebar. So you could write it as plus minus, and then 352 is 22 times 16 over 16, which comes out to 4, because the square root of 16 is 4, so you can go ahead and pull that out. Square root of 22 is some nasty decimal, which is, and then you can simplify that a little bit, and you get plus minus square root of 22 over 4. And then you can see that D is the matching one. D is the answer. But let's say you don't want to go through all that, or you just want to have a shortcut. What you can do is plug this in the calculator. So let's do that. So plug that in the calculator. Fraction, square root of 352 over 16. And the decimal approximation is 1.1726. So then you just try the others and see which one comes out to this. That means you can immediately eliminate B because these don't match at all. Bam. So let's try C because that's easy to try. Square root of 11 is not 1.17, so you could eliminate C. And then try A. So square root of 22 over 8 comes out to 0.586, which is not 1.17, which is what we know the answer is. So it's not A, that leaves us with D. So when you're doing these, trying to pick the correct answer, remember you can use a decimal approximation to pick, or you can simplify it by hand and just see which one matches.